Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Keep It Private. This episode this week is going to get quite deep because I'm talking about the truth about my weight loss, which has been something that I have struggled with over the years. There was a period of my life, it was from 2017 to about 2020, I want to say, where I really struggled with it. And it's just going to be completely brutally honest. So it might be a bit of a sensitive video. So if any of you guys are easily triggered by anything to do with like weight loss or that kind of topic, I would recommend maybe being a bit cautious with this video because I'm just telling the entire truth about my experience with my weight loss journey. And I'm not really concentrating on the physical aspects in terms of like, this is what I did. I went and trained for 4 days of the week. It's more of a psychological thing more than anything. I will be addressing weed smoking in this as well, because that was a huge thing that kind of psychologically made things very difficult. I'll also be touching on binge eating disorder because that was something that I massively struggled with. It's just going to be the truth about everything and my personal experience with it. And if you guys don't already know, I'm a very open book about this. So it's just going to be the complete, honest, utter truth in the rawest form. So here we go. Okay, so as a little backstory with this, I never ever had any issues with my body in high school. I was always very slim. I didn't even think about gaining weight or weight gain or anything like that. It wasn't even a thing to me. Like, your bitch would eat. When it got to 2017, things started to change a little bit, slowly but surely. And in 2017, that was when my YouTube started to blow up. If you guys remember the eBay prom dress era, where I would review $3 prom dresses from eBay and like the Wish days and all that. So my YouTube channel started to blow up. And as a result, I ended up moving to London. So I moved to London with my friends Spencer and Ben. Obviously, if you guys remember the social climbers. So I was 17 years old and moved out from home. So I went from having home cooked meals by my mum every evening to being left to fend for myself. And it was a pretty quick transition and it slapped me in the face a little bit. For example, I couldn't cook and had not learned how to cook at the time. So I was just ordering food in every single night. Aside from that, I was also putting fairy washing up liquid in the dishwasher. So the whole thing was a bit of a disaster, to be fair. But I was happy when I discovered Uber Eats. Like, I was ordering that shit every night. Like, cooking, no thank you. 20 minutes to my doorstep. McDonald's, yeah, sign me up. So I go to Ireland for a YouTube event. I was there with Jake Mitchell, Lee Hinchcliffe and Adam B99. It was with my old management at the time. So this was like back in 2017. And I remember the moment I realized I had gained weight was when I was in the hotel room and I stood in front of the mirror and for the first time properly saw my own body reflection, not in my low-lit purple LED bedroom back home. This time it was in the hotel mirror, which also had like that spotlight overhead lighting. Disgusting. So really wasn't being kind to me. I looked at my body and oh my God, like I had been in denial for months and months and just not really thought about the amount that I was eating. And I just remember looking in this mirror and just felt like the world came crashing down. I looked at myself and just thought, oh my God, like what the hell happened? Like, this is crazy. And I remember going into the bathroom and looking in that mirror and just being like, oh my God, like this is the truth of what my body looks like now. Like, when did this happen? I genuinely didn't even recognize myself. And then I remember what I did was I called my mum on the phone And I was like really upset on the phone, but like I didn't let her know to begin with because I just wanted the brutal, honest truth from her. So I just said to her, I was like, Mom, do you think that I've gained weight like recently? And I want you to be completely honest with me. Like, don't lie to me. Don't try and make me feel better. Like, just be honest. And she replies and goes, well, yeah, you have. But I mean, loads of girls do at your age. You know, you're becoming a woman. Yeah, I'm becoming a woman, but like that, not looking like that. Like, that's my worst nightmare. Like, what has happened to me? I got off the phone to her and I remember I just cried. Like, I literally just cried that entire night. And I just finally saw the truth of kind of the weight that I'd been gaining over the months. And I just didn't feel like myself. I felt like the person that I knew I was in my mind and how I wanted to express myself just did not match what I was seeing like in my exterior. I just remember looking at myself in the mirror as well and just being like, well done. You've done that to yourself. And then I go back to London, obviously where I just moved in with Ben and Spencer. And to begin my weight loss journey, what I thought at the time that like I had to do, or the way to go about it, was to literally just restrict my calories and eat nothing, because I thought to myself, I cannot be bothered to wait ages and, you know, like go to the gym and just cut out my calories a little bit. I can't be bothered to do that and then wait ages, because like I need to get out of this body as soon as possible. Like, this is horrible. I hate myself. I hate how I look. Like, I need to lose the weight as soon as possible, and to do that I'm just going to restrict my calories during the day. Worst idea ever. Like, worst idea. Because what ended up happening was I restricted my calories during the day. And when I moved to London, this is when I first started smoking weed. So at this time of my life, I would smoke weed in the evenings, right? So I wouldn't like wake up and smoke and like be high the whole day or anything like that. It was more so a thing where I would smoke at like 6 or 7 p.m. And this just created like psychological turmoil in terms of like my weight and weight loss journey. Because what would happen is, as I said, I was restricting my calories during the day, right? So I was like telling myself like not to eat anything. And then I like wanted myself to like have one meal at night, but I'd always wait until I smoked, because I was like, after I smoked, like it'll taste even better. So obviously like I'll smoke weed first and then eat, because it tastes even better. Why not? It makes sense that way. Was not that simple, because what would happen is I would eat one thing and I would then become ravenous, like genuinely ravenous. And it was like a switch would flick in my brain. And the moment I smoked, it was like everything I had been telling myself during the day would just do a complete 180. And I would be like, I need food now. Like, my body was like crying out for food. But at the same time, it was a psychological thing for me, because it was like during the day, I'd be like, don't touch the red button, don't touch the red button, which would be like, don't eat. And then in the evening, like I would smoke, have a little bit of food, and then it would be like, eat everything you can. But it's not that I wanted to eat everything that I could. I mean, yeah, I did, because that shit tasted good as well. But it was more so like, I just didn't care. It was like something else took over me, and I would literally like have one meal and I would not be able to stop eating. But it got to the point, and this is genuinely what ended up developing my binge eating disorder. I would obviously smoke weed, have something to eat, and then just keep eating. And it got to the point where every time this happened, I would sneak out of the house at like 11 p.m. and I would get in my car and I would literally drive to all of my local drive-through areas, like McDonald's, Domino's, KFC, like you name it, I'm there. And I would order the whole menu. Like, I'd be treating that McDonald's menu like it was tapas. I'd be having like 9 chicken nuggets, large fries, 2 McFlurries. It was always 2 McFlurries, like a Diet Coke. And then I'd get something else as well, like a McChicken. And then I would drive to Domino's and get a pizza with stuffed crust. And it would have like every topping on it as well. And then I'd also get 4 Domino's cookies on top of that. And then I'd probably go somewhere else afterwards. Like, I'm still in awe at how much I could like eat. But it was because after I smoked, the calories and stuff like that, like there was no limit to them. Like I could eat absolutely anything and keep going without stopping. And then I'd just look at my friends and stuff and they wouldn't go through the same thing. And I'd be like, how are you not craving food right now? Like, I am so hungry. But it was like a psychological thing more than anything. Like, yeah, the munchies were one aspect of it, but it was also because I'd been restricting myself with calories so much during the day that like, as soon as I smoked in the evening, oh my God, there was no limit. I could go through 4,000 to 5,000 calories in one evening, and it just was absolutely insane. And then I'd go to bed like feeling fine. Honestly, even when I was eating and going through the takeouts, like I'd also park in like abandoned car parks and just eat and put YouTube on and stuff like that. Like that was my favorite hobby. I was like, life literally does not get better than this. Like there is nothing more I'd rather be doing than eating in this environment right now. Like I just put food on such a pedestal, because it was the one thing that I really could not allow myself to have. So I craved it the most, especially after smoking, because of how it created like a switch in my mentality. And then I would wake up in the morning and I would hate myself. Like I would wake up, I'd feel so sick, like so sick from all of the shit that I had eaten the night before. I would feel so heavy in my bed that I couldn't get up. Like I didn't want to get up out of bed. I also would just be led there, like genuinely so sad and like depressed, because I'd just be led there being like, what do I have to get up for? Like what? In the past, yeah, I'd love to get up and do my makeup and put on an outfit, but now I don't want to do my makeup. Like my face is swollen from all the sodium. I look ugly. I'm fat. I hate how my body looks. Like anything I wear does not look good on me. I literally couldn't wear anything that I wanted to because I just was convinced it would look awful on my body. Like I remember I'd scroll through stuff online, like TikTok or whatever, and like I'd see outfits and be like, oh, that's so nice, but I couldn't buy that or wear it because it wouldn't look good on my body. Like I was so restricted with what I would allow myself to wear. Like everything had to be high-waisted, and like rather than wearing what I wanted to wear, I had to wear things in my mind that would just reduce how fat I felt like I looked. So I hated all the clothes that I had. I didn't want to look nice. I didn't feel like I could look nice. I felt trapped in my own body in a way, because it was like how I felt in my mentality and the Millie that I knew I was in my heart and soul did not match my exterior. And it was because of the weight gain. But also more than that, just with how I felt within myself. Like I didn't feel flowy and feminine and all this kind of stuff. I just felt horrible and heavy. And I just felt like I wasn't externally who I felt like I was internally. And that was really, really upsetting for me. Like it was like really hard to feel like that, because expressing myself was such a big thing, and it is now, like massively, with what I wear and, you know, but back then there was like nothing I could do about it felt like. And I was just constantly trapped in this cycle of binge eating in the evenings, because it was like I'd wake up the next day and say, never again, like never again will I like do that. If I smoke again, like there's no way I'm going to eat that much. That was the last time, like that's the last time it's going to happen. And then literally I would restrict my calories again during the day, and then in the evening time I'd smoke and be like, I'm obviously not going to do the same thing again. And then I would do the same thing again and again and again, and I'd wake up feeling like that again and again, and I was genuinely trapped in this cycle. And it was it felt like it was literally ruining my life at the time, and it was just making me so sad, like so sad. Because the thing is, I'd say to myself, obviously you're not going to do it again. Like if you smoke, you're not going to do the same thing you did yesterday. And then I would literally go 1 calorie over the limit that I'd set myself in my own head, and then I'd be like, well, you already messed it up, you might as well eat whatever you want now. And then I would eat everything, literally like 4,000 calories in the evening. And it was just a constant cycle. And it was so annoying, because it was like during the day, I'd be going through such a mental battle with myself, trying to restrict my calories and all this kind of stuff, which obviously was not healthy in itself. But then in the evening time, it was like I just mess it all up, and I was just stuck in this cycle. Like I'd put myself through such psychological turmoil during the day, being like, don't eat anything, just to mess it up and be back to square one or even worse, because of how much I would then binge eat in the evening. So I was fully trapped in this binge eating cycle, and it would happen again and again. Like this went on for months and months. And I started to get comments online from people like talking about my body image, but just being like, damn, like she's put on weight. And I'd see that and I'd be like, ouch, ouch, ouch. And then even little things like when I'd hang out with my friends and stuff and they'd make a fat joke or something like that, I would tense up and get so awkward because I'd be over analyzing if they flinched when they said that, because I felt like they'd make a fat joke or something and then be like, oh God, Millie's here. Like, oh God, like, you know what I mean? Didn't want to like make her feel really weird about that or whatever. And I'd just be so on edge all the time because I'd be like, do they think I'm gaining weight? Like, do they think I'm fat now? Like, are they judging me? It was just like, it was horrible. And I just felt so heavy as well. And obviously the stuff that I was eating was not helping. Like, oh my God, I was so unhealthy at the time. But it was like, because I had such a rule in myself, which was don't touch the red button, don't eat anything. Like I didn't want healthy foods when I ate. Like I wanted the worst possible food that I could put in my system, that like whatever food it would be that would make me hate myself the most for eating, I would end up eating. And it would taste amazing at the time. But obviously what goes up must come down. So I'd wake up the next day and regret it so much. I don't really know like how exactly I got out of it. It was quite subconscious, but looking back, there were definitely things that led to like the progression of it in the best way in terms of like getting over it. I remember one of the things was I was already getting sick of the cycle. Like I'd already had it up to here because after a certain amount of time, it was just like, how long am I going to allow this to keep going on for? But I also felt out of control with it in a way. And then what happened was, if you guys remember the KSI versus Logan Paul boxing fight, basically, I think I don't even know what year this was, like 2018 maybe. They had female undercards and they introduced female undercards and they wanted me to be one of the female fighters in the undercard. So I said yes. And obviously I had to begin training for this. And so that was one thing that like led me to kind of be on a weight loss journey in a more healthy sense, because then I started looking things up and realizing that I had to cut and then bulk and all this kind of stuff. So I started going to the gym and working out. I'd go with Ben and we'd go to the gym. And honestly, when I started doing that, I already felt great in myself because I think I was so sick of the psychological torture that I've been putting myself through. The feeling of leaving the gym felt just as good as, or even better, honestly, as when I was parked in an abandoned car park eating those foods high, thinking that that's as good as life gets, because I like, you know, I was doing something I shouldn't have been doing, but like that food tasted good at the time. And it was like I got that same feeling from walking out of the gym, but on the more healthy end of the spectrum, if you know what I mean. So with the KSI versus Logan Paul fight, they actually ended up revoking all of the female undercards. I don't know why. They just didn't want any female fighters in the end. But at this point, I'd already been training for like a month or two. But I'd only been going to the gym. I wasn't going to do like the full boxing lessons and stuff like that until everything was confirmed. But yeah, they revoked all the female undercards. But at this point, as I said, I'd already been like going to the gym and actually eating in a more healthy way. What I had also done was cut out the weed smoking, because as much as I'd try and convince myself, oh, you can smoke and you won't want to eat, like I would every single time. It's like as soon as it hit my mouth like that, I would instantly just fuck off any rules that I told myself, and I would just end up eating for England every single time. As much as I told myself it wouldn't happen, it did. So I had to control like my smoking as well. The thing is, I wasn't like a weed addict or anything like that. It was just, the problem was what it did to me psychologically in terms of eating and the munchies and food. Like, that was the problem with it. I remember what I had done is I'd taken pictures of myself at the peak of when I hated my body. I didn't want to, but I did. And I kept it there. And what happened was after 2 months, I then took another picture of myself, literally stood in the exact same position, and compared them both. And I was shocked at how much change had taken place. I'd lost so much weight, and you could visibly see it in 2 months as well. Something else along the way as well, this was like a few months later, something else that massively helped, which might sound a little bit crazy, is I booked myself in to get a boob job. And this helped so much. Obviously this isn't for everyone. I'm not saying if you're struggling with your weight, go get a boob job, but this is just my own experience. And I got my boob job done, and this motivated me so much, like in a healthy way, because I think being the only girl in an all male friendship group and like smoking weed and gaining weight and stuff, like it got to the point where I'd be like sitting there with my legs spread, like, bruh. You know what I mean? It was just not a good look. So, well, for how I knew I was in my own mentality. So when I got the boob job, it was like, oh my God, I'm a girl again. Like, I actually feel like a girl again. Thank God. Like, it was one step closer in my mind to being the Millie that I saw myself as in my head. Because also a side point to this is that when I had started to lose the weight, it completely changed the shape of my boobs. Like, I hadn't even lost loads of weight, but obviously I'd lost enough to see a difference, but it completely changed the shape of my boobs, like for the worst. And it looked like my boobs were upside down volcanoes, and I had no idea what was going on. So I booked myself in for a boob job consultation, got my boob job done, and it just like, I felt like a fairy after it. Like, I felt like such a girl. And the thing is, I didn't even say this out loud. And then the guys in my friendship group were like, oh my God, you're like an actual girl now. And I was like, okay, right, well, thank you. Guess it's confirmed. So that actually really helped, because I just felt like it matched who I wanted to be in my mind externally. So that was another step closer, but also in a healthy way, because it made me love myself more. I felt like I was just one step closer to becoming the person that I felt was trapped inside my head and not being able to be expressed outwardly, you know, because of the weight gain and everything else. Don't get me wrong. After my boob job, it was not a case of being like, oh, then the binge eating disorder went away and everything was great, and then I lost weight and here I am now. It was not that simple. I mean, one thing I will say is that I had already hit rock bottom, and that was when I was in that hotel room when I was in Ireland and I looked at my body and had seen what I'd become. That was absolute rock bottom. So I knew that I wasn't going to get back down to that again. Like, I could never ever allow that within myself, just because of how I felt, like for my own self-confidence, like my own self-love. No way. So what I ended up like doing was, even after my boob job, I'd already hit rock bottom, told myself I would never go back there, but it wasn't that smooth because there was still ups and downs. Like, months after my boob job, because things were going so good, it was like I thought I was in a place where I could allow myself to eat what I wanted. But when I ate what I wanted, it wasn't like, oh, a treat every here and there. It would be a case of I'd smoke weed and then eat an entire menu. Do you know what I mean? Like, I couldn't just do like bit by bit. It was like all or nothing mindset. So I definitely did stumble, but I just got better at catching myself in a way. So there was definitely ups and downs, and I would end up gaining weight. Like, a few months after my boob job, I definitely gained a bit more weight, but because I was so hesitant and so determined, actually, that's the word. I was so determined to not hit that rock bottom again. It was like, I'd pull myself out pretty quickly. The things that pulled me out of it more than anything were doing things like getting my boob job, which I know is a bit of a crazy one. That was one. But the other things were, I started going to pole dancing classes. And I also started going to heels dance classes. And they really, really helped, because I was like really embracing my femininity and like looking at myself. It was like, wait, I am still sexy. Like I do look good. You know what I mean? And it just made me fall back in love with myself in a really healthy way. And once again, it felt like I was matching who I felt like I was in my mind to the outside. I think something huge about that is when I trace it back to the root cause of all this, which is something that I keep saying, it's that I felt like I had lost who I was from being friends with like all guys, you know, and also gaining weight on top of that. I felt like I was just a vessel of myself. Like I wasn't who I felt like I was in my mind or who I wanted to be or how I wanted to express myself. So I felt like a huge root cause for me was getting back in touch with that femininity. And over time, from doing little things like going to the heels dance classes, pole dancing classes, even getting the boob job, and also wearing clothes that felt more like me, the more that I fell in love with my body and how it was changing in a healthy way, like for the better, losing the weight and not eating so much shit as well. Like over time, I felt like the scales began to balance, you know, and slowly but surely, how I looked on the outside was matching who I wanted to project myself to be, like internally. It's kind of like the whole idea of as above, so below, as within, so without, because there was such a disconnection from who I knew myself to be in my own head versus what I was seeing every time I looked in the mirror. The whole thing for me was taking like small but sure steps every day to balance the scales and make it match, you know? So I just slowly but surely began to fall back in love with myself and be proud of who I saw in the mirror. And also, even when I fell back into the binge eating cycles a little bit after getting my boob job, even though I thought I was on an incline, obviously I then still did have the ups and downs and kind of went back to old habits. What was different was that I held my own hand throughout it in a way. So rather than bullying myself, it was like I decided to hold my own hand through the ups and downs and just really want what was best for myself and actually love myself. For example, at the start, when I first gained the weight, every time I looked in the mirror, I'd look at myself and be like, ugh, you're so fat. You look disgusting. Like, I can't even look at you. Absolutely disgusting. Like, what have you done? You make me sick. Like, those are the kind of thoughts that I'd be having about myself. And like, that just wasn't good for anyone. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's never going to help me out. And what happened was over time, the way that I spoke to myself changed. And rather than just bullying myself constantly, like no one else can bully you the same way you can bully yourself in your own head. Like you really have to be cautious about the way that you speak to yourself, because over time, rather than allowing myself to bully myself in the mirror and talk to myself in that way, I would look in the mirror, and after my boob job, if I did find myself falling back into the binge eating cycles or gaining more weight, I'd look in the mirror and be like, ooh, bitch, we gaining a little weight. Do you think gym tomorrow? Okay, maybe not tomorrow. That might be reaching a bit far, but day after tomorrow, gym. You know what I mean? It was like the way that I was speaking to myself completely changed. And rather than just bullying myself, I was just holding my own hand throughout the whole process and just really wanting what was best for myself. So where I'm at now, it is actually crazy to tell that whole story and look back on the way that I was then. Now I do not value food in the way that I did back then. I'd put it on such a pedestal, and now I just do not see it the same way. I think because my mentality is just so much more balanced now. I really do just want to hug my younger self. I kind of see the mindset I had back then, and also how I treated myself when I was going through the eating disorders and the weight gain. I look at the way that I treated myself, and it just makes me so sad, like how much I bullied myself. Because I'm older now, I look back on her like a younger sister or like a little daughter kind of thing, and I literally just want to hug her and be like, you idiot, like it's not that deep. Do you know what I mean? Like you don't need to bully yourself that much. Like it obviously was that deep, like for me at the time, but also it was like you're just bullying yourself and making it into such a thing in your mind that you are just getting yourself trapped in these cycles. And the more that you care about it and the more that you bully yourself for this, the more like you're damaging yourself. Like I've damaged my body so much, like the binge eating, like starving myself during the day and then binge eating at night, and the stuff that I was putting into my body as well. Like that was not good for my body. And it just makes me so sad that I was treating myself in that way. And I think it was just genuinely because I had so much self-hatred at the time. And the more that I hated myself, the more that I would just inadvertently make it worse by like eating loads. But yeah, like I said, it's been like 6 years since the peak of my binge eating disorder and body struggles and body issues and all that. And I just look back and I find it crazy how much I used to value food. Like if I went through like an entire pack of Maryland biscuits or I had takeout or something, it would be like the best tasting thing in the entire world. Like I thought it just does not get better than this. This tastes amazing. But it just proves to me now when I look back that it was just because I had such a mentality of don't press the red button. Like this is the one thing that you are not allowed to eat. So I would value it so much because I'd be like, you can't have this all the time. Like you shouldn't even be having it now. Like don't eat this, do not eat this. So when I would, it would taste amazing, which would then make me crave it even more once again as the days went on or the weeks went on. Like I would just crave the most unhealthy, high calorie foods. And that's crazy to look back on now, because now I would much rather eat fruit or like have a Greek yogurt granola bowl. Like, you know, I'll have a little honey on that, obviously, but like it just tastes so, I would have that over takeout any day now, because I love myself so much more now that like I care about what I put in my body massively. And also because I don't have the mentality of don't press the red button. It's like I can allow myself to have those things if I want. For example, it's not that I don't ever eat takeaway. Like if I crave a Five Guys burger, for example, like randomly one night, I will order that shit without thinking twice. Do you know what I mean? I'll have that turning up to my doorstep in 20 minutes. Like I don't need to think about it, and I don't let myself think about it. I will allow myself to have that Five Guys burger if I want it, you know, because if I know now that if I don't let myself have it and I'm like, oh, maybe not tonight, that craving doesn't go away. It just gets repressed in the back of my mind. And then a few days later, I'll want it times 10. Do you know what I mean? Like they don't go away. You're just like repressing it into like your shadow side, you know? So I'll just allow myself to have it whenever I want it. And then it's like, okay, done. You know what I mean? Like I wanted it, I've had it, we move forward. Whereas like if I don't allow myself to have it in the moment, I'm then creating like psychological debt for myself, you know what I mean? And then it gains interest over the next few days, and then I like want 5 burgers or something like that. So just allowing myself to have it is just like, it's just done in the moment, and then I can just go back to normal and move on. It's just such a healthier mindset that I'm in now, rather than trying to control myself so much. It's that control thing. Like the more I tried to control everything, the more detrimental it was, because I just ended up bullying myself, eating so much. And it was just like, the more I cared and the more control I tried, or the more I tried to control it, the worse everything became. Whereas now I just release all control, and like over, like it's not that simple. Obviously it took a few years, but it is just wild to see the contrast like back then compared to now. Like if I want something, if I want to take out, I'll have it. Doesn't mean I have to order the entire menu and treat it like tapas, you know? Like I wouldn't even want to do that now. Like if I just get a craving, I get a craving, have it, done, move on, wake up the next day, back to my granola bowl. Or even a bacon butty if I want it. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter. It's not that deep. I care about my body and treating it right. So yeah, the main thing that I've taken from this with myself, obviously, like I say, this is just my own personal journey. And like, if you relate to it, you relate to it. If you have a completely different perspective on things, obviously that's more than okay. I am really intrigued to know what you guys think about this as well. So don't be shy to share all your comments and stuff like that. I'd love to hear them. But something massive that I've learned about my own personal like journey with all of this is that it was just a self-love journey more than anything, and just treating myself like a best friend and helping myself through it rather than bullying myself all the time created the best possible outcome and like really allowed me to heal from it as time went on, because over time it just became so much more balanced as I held my hand or held my own hand and treated myself like a best friend. And now I'm proud of what I see when I look in the mirror. And also my relationship with food is amazing now because I just don't care like I did before. I just want to send a message to anyone listening. Like, if you do struggle with food and you've gone through eating disorders or whatever, I really do know how it feels and I completely understand. It is the worst thing in the world when you're not happy with the way that you look and your weight and you struggle with that, because I feel like it's something that people who don't go through weight struggles or weight issues, like they will never understand. I remember when I was in the peak of struggling with everything, I'd look at my friends and stuff and be like, damn, you don't worry about food or your body. Like, how does that feel? Like, that must be wild. And now I'm living that now. Like, obviously it took years, but it's weird that I'm living that now because I just don't see food in the same way that I did then. It's just not on such a pedestal anymore. And that's definitely for the better. Definitely for the better. I have way more mental time to focus on other things now. Thank God. Thank God. But yeah, I love you guys. I just want to say, anyone that has gone through anything like this, completely understand, and just sending love to everyone out there. Thank you guys for listening to this episode of Keep It Private. We got a little deep with that one. It's probably not the deepest we'll go. There's definitely more to come with that, but thank you for listening and I will catch you in the next episode. Bye guys.